Talking to Neil McLaughlin. Neil, what's your thoughts now going back to Springtown?
Well, I came into Springtown in, I think it was 1948. I was 8 years old, and I lived in Springtown Camp. I got married at a Springtown Camp in January 1966, and I lived in Springtown Camp till October 67. And my recollection of Springtown Camp is that the conditions weren't good, but the environment and the people, you couldn't meet any better.
Right, when you say conditions, I'm assuming you're referring to the housing conditions.
Well, the conditions of the house was very, very poor, and we all kept, we even marched to the Guildhall, and we done different things to try to get the conscious attention about the housing conditions, but to no avail. But after that, after fighting so hard to get housing conditions, but we wanted to be housed.
Yes, Neil.
Jean, we wanted to be housed in Springtown. We wanted our community to stay together. Unfortunately, that never happened, like, you know. And as you see here the last couple of nights that we've had dances on here, our community is very, very close. Everybody up here last night, there was 350 people plus in this hall, and everybody up there enjoyed themselves. The atmosphere up there and the dances, it's the same as it was in Springtown Camp 20 odd years ago.
I'm going to interrupt you now, Neil. I want you to think back. I want you to think back to the housing march, if you remember, that we had in the camp. Do you remember that, Neil?
I can't remember exactly what year, but I remember you yourself, Robert. You were the committee, and John McLaughlin and a few others, and all the people marching, and we all marched. I think I was away working in England at that particular time at these marches, but I remember it was the first, talk about civil rights marches, that was the first civil rights march that I've ever known in Derry, was from Springtown to the Guildhall to object to the conditions, the living conditions that we were living in.
Right. And would you say, excuse me, would you say, Neil, that at that time, that housing march really broke the back of the housing, and even to the present day, young couples now getting married have only had possibly about a year to bit in the house, and as few the efforts of the people at the camp at that time. Would you agree with that?
I would certainly agree with it. I think that the Springtown people were pioneers for a lot of things that they weren't given credit for, especially as you said about people getting housing now within a year, and even young people that once they leave home they can get flats now. But all that was brought, in my opinion anyway, was brought because of our efforts to get houses. Our efforts was very, very, very hard. We tried hard, we objected, we wrote the papers, we got different people, we got Paddy Maxwell, all the different kinds of people to help us. And we broke the back for the rest of the people. We broke it, and the rest of the people jumped the bandwagon.
Right, Neil, I'm going to bring you now up to the present day. Now, last year, you organised the first get-together of Springtown Camp. And you are a member of the present committee of that, is that correct?
That's right, Robert.
I would like you to ask you, how did you organise that dance? How did it come about?
Well, it come about, it was been talked about for years, and Molly Deary is actually, like, you know, I'm a member of the committee, but I have great admiration for Molly Deary. He's a very hard worker, and he was a regional man to really get off it and do it. And Molly got, and he started off himself, and then he got us behind him, and we've been with him since. And there's no amount of words that anybody could say that I could. For Wally Deary, to me, he's a fine person. He's one of the nicest people that ever came out of Springtown Camp, and there's some beautiful people.
Well, Neil, obviously last year's get-together was a great success, and you had this one this year. Now, I was here last night, and I met people that I haven't seen for years, and the general feedback that I was getting, that their greatest times of their lives was in the camp. that was the great message that was coming across. And obviously that they were talking about having another get-together, even possibly next year. Now, as a member of the committee, would you see that coming off again?
Well, I can't see no reason why, because everybody wants to come to these dances. Everybody, the tickets has been sold out weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and my phone's been ringing, and Willie Deary's phone, and every member of the committee, their heads deranged. There isn't a big enough hall to house us.
Well, it's good to know that, Neil. I would just like to ask you now, was one final question. I've been told now that the next thing that these are organising is a night out for the pensioners of the camp.
Yes, that's right, Robert. We've the proceeds that we make here from these dances and the books that we sell and one thing and another is going to our senior citizens. And every senior citizen that lives in the camp is welcome to come to the Savoy Hotel. We haven't set a date yet, but the hotel's booked. It's early February. It's between the 5th and 7th, but we haven't picked a particular night. Right. But we will do shortly after this dance. The senior citizens will have everything free. They'll have a 4-course meal, they'll have drink, and they'll have band and everything. Everything will be put and it'll be done for them. And that's what. And anything that's left over, we'll talk about that later on. You know what I mean? Right, I don't think there'll be much left over.
Neil, that's absolutely marvellous. And Neil, finally, I would like to say this on behalf of the people. I would like to thank you and all the members of the committee for the tremendous work that you've done. And all I can say is keep the good work up.
Thank you very much, Robert.